I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
This is the Virtual Real Estate Investor Podcast with Vincent Polisi. Buckle your seatbelt and prepare to learn how to legally make six figures investing in real estate with no money, no credit check, and nothing but a computer and internet connection. Learn how you too can begin generating buyers and sellers for free today. And why you're only 2 calls away from making a $10,000 or more payday while never leaving the comfort of your home. And now, your host, the virtual real estate investor, Vincent Polisi.
Today's webinar and Facebook Live, we're going to cover how to get people to pay you so they can bring you deals, okay? And I know it probably sounds a little counterintuitive. A lot of people probably don't understand what I'm talking about. They probably think it's, more snake oil nonsense, whatever it is, not possible, all of those things. But I'm going to break it all down for you right now and show you exactly how to do it. So here is what everybody else does, okay, to generate leads, to generate deals, okay? What they do is a combination, one or more of the following things that you're seeing on the screen right now. They're doing bandit signs, they're doing yellow letters, they're doing postcards, the pre-foreclosure postcards that everybody else is doing. They're paying bird dogs, they're driving for dollars, they're buying probate lists and doing mail outs. That's what everybody's doing, okay? And for those of you that are watching this, whether you're watching it on GoToWebinar or on the Facebook Live, which of these are you doing? Leave a comment, leave a question in the chat box, whatever it is. Tell me which one of these that you are doing and how happy you are with the results that you're getting from these, because all of these cost money. They cost a lot of money, okay? And it's absolutely not necessary to spend money on marketing to generate deals in real estate investing. Now, as I say that, the caveat there is that based on whatever type strategy you're going after, you may think that it's a requirement to spend money because that's what you got taught in some, one of these guru courses or whatever, but it's not necessary to do money to make money in real estate investing. Okay. I haven't spent money on marketing. It's just not something I do. I don't need to. Okay. For a lot of different reasons. Even if I didn't have people paying me to bring me deals, I would still not be spending any money on marketing because I don't need to. And you don't need to either. Okay. What happens is people get involved in these courses and stuff like that, and they're taught these bad methodologies that literally everybody else is doing. Okay. And one thing I learned long ago is that you never want to do what the herd is doing. Okay. You never do what the herd does. And it's very easy to see what the herd does because they're posting this stuff on Facebook all the time. All right. So you don't ever want to do what the herd does. Okay. Why? Because that's what everybody's doing. Right. And that's just not that's not the space that you want to be in if you're a real estate investor, if you're or an entrepreneur, because it's a very crowded space. And most of the time, what the herd is doing is not cutting edge. It's not innovative. There's nothing novel about it. It's everybody doing the exact same thing. And basically what they're doing is, you guys are all fighting each other for the same, scraps, if that makes any sense, instead of setting up your businesses in such a way that you don't have to fight, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to settle for scraps. Okay, that's not what you want to do. And you can watch this thing play out on Facebook every single day. I watch it every single day. I watch what everybody else is doing, all the quote unquote wholesalers, all the the rehabbers, all of them. They're all doing exactly the same thing. Okay, and I guess some of these people are having success or the types of success that they want, but you need to understand the difference between the red ocean and the blue ocean. And while I'm on this topic, where that comes from is a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. Has anybody ever read the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy? If you have, leave a comment on Facebook, leave a comment on GoToWebinar or whatever. Has anybody ever read the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy? Because if you've never read it, you probably don't understand the concept, and you probably don't understand how you need to be setting your business up to avoid and eliminate competition. Okay, because if I asked you a simple question, I said, "Hey, which would you prefer? Would you rather have competition or have no competition?" Obviously, you'd rather have no competition, right? Well, you can have no competition, and it's very easy to set up, but you've got to start and begin with the end in mind, and you have to be able to put your business together in such a way that you avoid competition. Okay, it doesn't look like anybody's ever read the book. I don't know. No, has anybody ever read it? Nobody's ever read it. Nobody that's watching has ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy. Okay, I guess all right. So let me give you the gist of the book. Okay, the gist of the book is this: it's about a guy by the name of Guy Laliberté. He is the founder of this little thing called Cirque du Soleil. And the way the whole thing went down, and this is a very empowering book once you understand the concept behind it. The way the whole thing went down was back, 30 years ago. And that may not be an accurate date, so don't quote me on that. But back probably 30 some odd years ago, Guy Laliberté and all of his friends, family, etc., worked for, it was either Ringling Brothers or Barnum and Bailey Circus. Okay, they were all circus performers, all like Eastern European, French, whatever. And there was a merger between Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. Okay, when that happened, they laid off a lot of the circus performers because they had too many at that point for the cities that they were. If you guys, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember circuses, but when I was a kid, circuses like Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, whatever it is, they would tour cities, right? So they'd go from city, they'd be in one city for 3 days, and they go to the next city, they'll be there for 3 days, and they just do this entire tour all the way across the country. And I assume the same thing in Europe. I've never seen it in Europe, but I assume that's what they did there too. So they all get laid off. Well, what does an out of work circus performer, acrobatist, trapeze artist, all these things, what do you do for a living when the two biggest circuses just merged into this multi-billion-dollar corporation? You got laid off. Where are you going for a job, right? So he's sitting back and he's sitting there scratching his head like, okay, well, how do we do this? Because obviously we don't have the resources to compete against a multi-billion-dollar 800-pound gorilla that just merged, that basically fired us, which is Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And so he looked at the landscape. And the red ocean is the ocean filled with blood. And it's bloody because it's all sharks that are trying to eat each other. And they're bleeding because they're cutting each other's throats, right? Taking real big old bites out. And that's what's called competition. And he said, okay, well, I don't want to be over there in that space where I have to compete with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, because there's no way we can compete with them, on their stage, on their platform that they've got of the touring circus acts and all that stuff. Okay. So he said, okay, well then how do we do something, different? And so what he did was he went out and he created his own blue ocean. It's called the Blue Ocean. It's blue because there's no blood in it, because there's no competition, and it's a beautiful place to swim in, because guess what? You create your own environment. You create your own platform. And the way that you do that is by creating something that is completely innovative. All right. And so what he did is exactly what I did when I started putting all this stuff together years ago. Okay. But what he did in his arena was he said, okay, we're not going to compete with them. We are going to create something unique and innovative. And has anybody ever been to Cirque du Soleil? If you have, leave a comment somewhere. Anybody ever been? I mean, it's an incredible show. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's like horrifically what you would argue would be overpriced, but it's mind blowing if you've ever been to one. They're absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, it's worth the money. Let me put it like that. It's expensive. So what he did was he created a premium priced upscale product, okay? And literally created his own niche industry where there's no competition at all. Because if I had to ask anybody, who is the direct competitor? Who's the direct competitor to Cirque du Soleil? Okay, like Apple is to Microsoft, right? Who's that direct competitor to Cirque du Soleil? The answer is there isn't one, right? There is no other, act or performance that's like that. The only thing you might be able to argue on a broad basis is that their competition is entertainment dollars. Okay, so what he was able to do was he was able to take all these out of work circus performers, get them out of the red ocean, not have to even go into the red ocean, and create the blue ocean by creating something that's totally unique to the marketplace. And as a result, had no competition. They've made billions and billions of dollars since they've since he created this. I don't know how long. I can't remember how long ago. I know how I saw it first time 20 something, about 20 years ago, I think. And they were around long before that. So absolutely fantastic. Okay. But the problem is that in the real estate investing space, especially if you're going through, these courses and these even like real estate groups like mine and all that kind of stuff, there's nothing, there's like no, people are not doing things from any inspiration of innovation. There's nothing new, right? It's the same stuff that's churned over and over and over and over and over again. And that's one of the reasons why so many of you struggle, okay? Because it's the same garbage over and over and over again. And you're in the red ocean. You're in the red ocean competing with all these other people that bought the same exact course as you. That's why when we do stuff, we work in a spirit of collaboration, not competition, because there's more than enough to go around for everybody. There's plenty of money out there, okay? Plenty of deals out there. The issue is that most people don't know how to get them. Now, you need to understand something, and a lot of people don't understand this. They think that success is some big, elusive unicorn that you have to chase and hunt down and all that, and it absolutely is not. It's not a mystery, okay? It is not, and I have to pound this away with my people all the time. Success is not a mystery, all right? You need to understand that success leaves clues. They're all over the place. And the number one thing that you can do to be successful is to do what other successful people do, right? You have to have awareness. You have to be on the lookout for what are the successful people doing? The really successful people, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And how do I start doing the same thing and or better and or possibly even, preferably even unique, if that makes any sense, okay? All right? So the biggest thing that you guys can do is pay attention, all right? And most people don't do that. They just, trot along, just keep doing the same thing. It's loud, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And as a result, they struggle, they get frustrated. So the reason there's, a 98 to 99% washout rate for people that get involved in real estate investing, because they don't understand business, and all they're doing is regurgitating the same stuff that everybody else is doing. And if we go back to that very first slide, by show of comments here, how many people are doing these things, right? How many people are doing bandit signs for real estate? How many people are doing driving for dollars, knocking on doors, right? Sending yellow letters out, buying probate lists, paying bird dogs, doing the pre-foreclosure postcards or whatever. All of y'all, right? Aren't you all doing that? Is anybody not doing that? Why don't you guys tell me this, okay? And if I'm wrong, that's a great place to tell me on a live webinar. But what are you doing for marketing? How are you getting your leads? Where are they coming from? If they're not coming from one of these sources right here, other than I guess I could put referrals on there, but that's typically not going to be a major lead stream in real estate investment. But nonetheless, where are you getting your deals from? Where are they coming from? Some type of paid marketing, right? I assume that's why you're on this thing today. So we got all the way back to that. But here's what you're missing. You're missing the big picture, okay? I assume, and I could be wrong, but I assume that if you're on this today, you're on here because you want to be successful in real estate investing. You want to be successful in business. You want to create a platform that enables you to create the income, the generational wealth, the legacy that you want to create, and do it in the easiest way possible. And the easiest way possible, I'm going to lay it out here for you, is to not have to chase deals down. It's to not have to spend money on marketing, okay? And so if I laid this out side by side and I said, okay, what would you rather do? Would you rather have to spend money on marketing and pay for advertising, bandit signs, yellow letters, postcards, all this other stuff? Or would you rather have people pay you so they can bring you deals? Which do you like better? You want to pay to play, or you want to get paid to play? Which one is it? Anybody have a comment? Nothing? Okay, everybody just falling asleep, I guess. Well, I know, it wasn't very hard for me. When I started putting the model that I have together, the way that I always do things is this, okay? I take a look at I'm going to go back to this slide over here again. All right, I want to know, what is the herd doing? What are they doing? Okay? Right? What are they doing? Because you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm going to do the opposite of this. Whatever the herd is doing, I'm going the other direction. Because guess what? There's no herd in the other direction. Because here's where the herd's going. They're going to the red ocean over here. That's their destination. Okay. The destination of the herd is the red ocean. So you guys want to make sure that you think through what you're doing and you understand what your destination is. Is it doing all the same stuff like everybody else? So you could be one of these herd members. So you could end up here in the red ocean, because that's what most people do. And that's what most people teach other people to do, which is idiotic, but that's what they do because they don't know any better themselves. Nonetheless, okay, so you got to understand what the big picture is. You don't have to, but I mean, I would advise it, because hell, it's a lot easier to get paid by people so they can bring you deals, as opposed to you having to go out there and, beat feet on the street, killing yourself, spending all this money on marketing and advertising. I'll tell you what, here's like a perfect example for you, so you understand what I'm talking about. I've had people come to me and pay me for coaching, okay? And I'm not talking about stupid people. I'm talking about six-figure income earners, okay? Sharp guys. And the very first thing that I do, these guys that they're dabbling in the wholesaling arena. Okay, I don't think they're dabbling, but nonetheless, they're in what they call the wholesaling arena, which is really what they're doing is contract assignments. And the very first thing that I do with them, I do with all of them, is I walk them through, basically a financial process. And that financial process is we want to understand what the numbers are. And I just take them down the path. I said, okay, based on what you've spent on whatever courses you took, how much was that? What did you spend on marketing and advertising with your bandit signs and lists and yellow letters and all this other stuff? Fantastic. All right. What was the total amount of revenue that you generated? We're going to subtract all your expenses from that. And then we're going to take that and we're going to divide that by the number of hours that you invested in whatever course you took, and all of your marketing efforts, and touring properties, and negotiating deals, and clearing titles, and all this other stuff that when you have to play title jockey for somebody else, and you have to wait then for, which is still moronic on a contract assignment. You have to wait for somebody else's closing that you're not party to get paid, which I still have yet to understand that. So and we break it all down so that we can get to what their average hourly rate is. Now I'm talking about sharp guys, not dummies, not newbies, okay? And the average hourly rate of six-figure income earners that get involved in the standard vanilla wholesaling nonsense that's sold by, I'll go ahead and name names, guys like Sean Terry, Cody Sperber, Tom Kroll, all of these guys. It's all the same crap. There is no difference in them. There's no innovation or uniqueness in any of it, right? It's $12 an hour. Basically what they did is they created for themselves a $12 an hour job. And they didn't realize it until we went through the numbers. Okay, that's what they were doing. And that's not where you guys want to be. All right, you don't have to struggle to get deals. They're all over the place for free. Okay, and if you understand what the bigger picture is here, you got to take the blinders off if you guys want to be successful. Okay, you got to take the blinders off. Okay, if you're thinking about, being a quote unquote real estate investor, right? That's very narrow. You've got blinders on. Okay, that's one income stream. What you need to be thinking about is how many other, well, let's back up. One is, how do I make all that come to me so I don't have to work for it? And number two, how many other income streams can I squeeze out of that income stream, right? How many different ways can I layer different income streams from the main income stream? And most people don't think like that. What they think about is, okay, I got to get up, I got to go find a deal, and I'm going to do a contract assignment, and I'm going to get paid, and now I got to start back from zero all over again. Month after month after month after month, which is a horrible model, by the way. Wholesaling is an absolutely terrible model. Horrible model. And I'm going to actually do a webinar on that one too. So I can walk you guys through it, because it just sucks on every level. I'll give you the breakdown real quick. Okay. If you guys are wholesaling, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm just telling you, there's a lot easier, better, faster way that's actually a lot more profitable, that doesn't cost you any money, than going out there doing the traditional wholesaling routine. So when you take a look at wholesaling, okay, here's why I say wholesaling sucks. It's not fun. Number one, it's not fun. Number two, right, you got to spend money. You have to spend money on lead generation, whether that's all those things I showed you on that first slide. So you have capital expenditure up front, which takes time. So you're further away from getting cash and getting paid. I want to get paid today, right? I want to be able to do a deal start to finish and get paid today, right? I don't want to have to wait for bandit signs to come in or letters to come in to then have to be mailed out and wait for that time. And then they get stacked on a thing with 20 other letters that look exactly the same because everybody bought the same course and nobody innovated with anything. They're just following along like the herd. So you got all that. So you got the expense. You got wasted time. Okay. All this wasted time. And then if you're fortunate enough to generate a quote unquote, and I hate this term, just do yourselves a favor, get this term out of your vocabulary because it's idiotic. Motivated seller. I got news for you. All sellers are motivated. That's why they're selling. Okay. There is no such thing as motivated. They're all motivated. That's why they're selling the property. If you think somebody is not motivated, it simply means that you haven't solved their problem, whatever their problem is. It does not mean they're not motivated, because they are motivated. That's why they got the property on the market. They're motivated, but you haven't found out what the motivation is. Okay. What's the hot button, right? How do you solve the problem that they're looking for? Because every seller is motivated. I don't care what, and don't tell me otherwise, because it's not true. Every seller is motivated. You just have to be able to solve their problem. And the problem with sticking to one little strategy like wholesaling, or for lack of a better term, contract assignment, what you're really doing is you're trying to put every single square in the round peg, round hole. Okay. And they don't always fit in that one little box. So you have to be open to other strategies and things like that, so you can understand that, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I'm not a wholesaler. Okay, I'm not a rehabber. I'm not a fix and flipper. I'm not gonna limit my ability to generate cash because I want to go by some stupid label of a title, because I won't expand my horizons, get additional education on other strategies that can work when I come across a deal. Okay, and if you're doing wholesaling, right, you're linear and very narrow in focus, and you're back there in the red ocean again, and everybody else is trying to do the exact same thing. So then, if all that stuff wasn't bad enough, then what you've got to do is you've got to go through and you got to beat this poor guy up. And when I say poor guy, right? Well, he's under duress, because if you're going by the MAO formula, hopefully everybody knows what the MAO formula is, maximum allowable offer, right? If you're going by that, then you got to get the property at what, 65% fair market value, so that you can squeeze out a contract assignment deal. So why is the guy in his right mind going to take that kind of a haircut on it? Because he's under duress, right? So you have to go deal with all that toxic negativity with that and all the negotiations. So then, if you're fortunate enough to finally get that, the way these dummies teach you guys how to do this stuff is totally backwards, okay? Because they have you going inventory first, property first, which is just completely moronic, as opposed to going buyer first, pre-qualifying your buyers, understanding what they're looking for, so you know what a deal looks like, so you can get paid quickly and instantly. But that's not what they have you do. So then you got to go shop that deal, and then damn thing gets daisy chains all over Facebook and everything else. And then hopefully, you get somebody that can close. But if not, then what? Now you got to go use one of these fraud clauses and bail out on the guy because you can't perform, right? And you spent all that time, energy, money to make no money, right? To make no money. Anybody ever have that happen? I mean, let's be honest. Come on. You guys have had deals you haven't closed before, right? Where you spent a bunch of money marketing and advertising and shopping the thing and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff, and you still couldn't sell it, couldn't assign the contract. I know it happens. It happens every single day. So anyway, we'll get off wholesaling for a minute. Here's a bigger picture, and this is what you guys should be doing if you're intelligent, okay? Real estate investing on steroids, right? Not being a one-trick pony, having other tools in your arsenal, or weapons in your arsenal. You need to be looking at every possible way that you can generate multiple streams of income from a real estate deal, and real estate strategies, and real estate knowledge, okay? And then you need to have deals brought to you daily that are pre-qualified to your metrics, okay? Anybody know what I'm talking about here? Does anybody know what I'm talking about, right? Because this is something they don't teach you in the courses, right? So most of you guys, if you're going out there in the marketplace looking for a deal, you're going out there looking for a deal, right? You're not setting yourself up as the authority and as the buyer so that you have your own little herd bringing you deals daily, which is what you should be doing, okay? But they don't teach you that. They tell you to go out there and be, the feet on the street and go through all the rigmarole to try to get a deal in. But you should have your own army of people that are out there that are bringing you deals based on your metrics. But you got to get your skills up. So how do you get people to pay you to bring you deals? Okay, this is how I do it. Okay, I have a joint venture program. All right, and if I distill that thing down to its most basic level, what happens is this, and it's absolutely brilliant and it's absolutely genius, and it's the exact opposite of what everybody else does. Okay, because everybody else is out there fighting each other, paying all this money in marketing and all this mailers and bandit signs and postage and all this other stuff. They're doing all the work, and that's because they don't understand the doctor's office model. I'm going to explain to you what the doctor's office model is, because if you had to work in a doctor's office, there's only one person you want to be. That's the doctor. Okay. You don't want to be the nurse. You don't want to be the intake person, right? You don't want to be the person doing the blood pressure and temperature and all that stuff, right? You want to be a doctor. Because why? Because the doctor gets paid the most, right? Who spends the least amount of time with the patient? The doctor. So let me explain to you what I'm talking about so this will make sense. You want to set your business model up in such a way that everything else is done for you, okay? And what you get to do is you get to simply work on your area of expertise, the thing that you're best at, which should be closing, okay? That should be taking the buyer, the seller through, the 7-step sales process, the professional pitch, handling objections, and closing so you can get paid. That's what I do. That's what you should be doing also. That's one of the reasons why I can get people to pay me so they can bring me deals, okay? That's the situation we want to be in. If you guys have done, most of you guys have probably never read Robert Allen's Multiple Streams of Income or Multiple Streams of Internet Income. But in I think it was Multiple Streams of, I think it was Internet Income, he talked about his, he had his, I guess, his assistant, secretary, reception, I don't know, whatever the hell they call him now, administrative assistant, executive assistant, whatever she was, his right-hand person, his girl Friday or whatever, that she was working for him. And she got started off on, I don't know what the hell, it was some MLM, Herbalife or something. And so she's doing this whole Herbalife thing on the side. And she finally gets to the point, and he's relying on her, right? This is like his right-hand person. And he's like relying on her, needs her. She's there. She's running the whole show every day, running the office. But she's got this like MLM thing off on the side. And she starts making so much money on the MLM thing that she can't afford to work for him anymore because she's losing money with what she's being paid, right? So she has to put in her 2 weeks notice. He's like, whoa, wait a minute, time out. What do you mean you're quitting, right? What do you mean you're quitting, right? And it's like, hey, how are you quitting? Like, what are you doing? And so she explains to him the whole thing with Herbalife or whatever it was. And okay, so he had that light bulb moment that went off like, well, okay, if she can make that kind of money, imagine what I could do with my resources and contacts and expertise and knowledge and everything else, because like everybody else, he was not into network marketing or multi-level marketing at that point in time. And so when he set his business up for the MLM, what he did not want to do was, let's go back to that slide. He didn't want to do what the herd was doing. What's the herd doing MLM, right? They do, house parties. They got to go, sell Amway soap to their family members and get everybody set up on auto ship and all this stuff, right? And they got to go try to recruit everybody under the sun. And it's like dealing with a combination of, I'm saying this tongue in cheek, so don't everybody get offended, but it's like almost like dealing with a combination of, a vegan, no offense to vegans, and somebody on CrossFit, because you're with them 2 seconds and boom, they're right coming out of the gate and let you know that, hey, I'm a vegan and hey, I'm on CrossFit, right? I do CrossFit, right? So it's like that, and he didn't want to be that used car salesman MLM person that everybody hates and all that stuff. So what he ended up doing was he came over here into the blue ocean, not the red ocean, and he set his model up to do the exact opposite of what everybody else was doing, and he created what arguably would be probably considered one of the very first funnels, marketing funnels. And he had things set up in such a way that he was generating interested prospects that already knew who he was. They knew what the deal was, and they already had raised their hand that they wanted to sign up with him. Okay. So all he's doing is dealing with pre-qualified people all day long, right? He didn't have to pre-qualify them. He didn't have to chase them, have to do anything. He set everything up in such a way that they were coming to him. That's exactly what you guys want to do too. Okay. So when we talk about joint venture program, and what I do, how do I get people to pay me? How do I get people to pay me so they can bring me deals, right? How do I get to be the doctor? Well, this is what I did and do, and this is what you should do too if you're actively engaged in real estate investing on a daily basis. You got to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture, and let me say this, let me go ahead and qualify this up front. You're going to be obtaining a tremendous amount of knowledge if you're doing it correctly. Okay, that knowledge has value, right? With the advent of the internet and Facebook, you've got a 24/7 global cash register. Now you combine that with knowledge, and you have something of value that people will be willing to pay for. Okay. And the way that you do that is you have to become the authority, which means you're going to have to turn off Game of Thrones or whatever the new show is, and you're going to have to get your skills up so you can, walk the walk and talk the talk, and people will understand that you know what you're talking about. Okay. So what I did was I very quickly became the authority because I was already the authority, but I didn't have a social media presence. So I had to become the authority, right? I did that. I then started by, I practiced what's called give to get, right? In other words, I didn't come out with my hand out. I started a free Facebook group, let people join, answer their questions. So I answer questions there every single day. Giving, did a podcast, all right? Free podcast, all kinds of quality content, live deals. And again, I did the whole, I wanted to be the blue ocean, use the blue ocean strategy. When I started, I sat on my hands for about 2 years trying to figure out how to do a real estate investing podcast, because what I didn't want to do personally, again, we talk about what is the herd doing? I don't want to do what the herd's doing. All the herd does is they interview each other and try to push each others affiliate programs and all sort of crap, right? And it's all loaded with a bunch of nonsense and stuff that's totally illegal and completely incompetent. But they just keep regurgitating the same stuff over and over and over again. And so the herd believes it because they're the authority, they're the perceived authority, when that's really not the case, and they don't do their due diligence, and they rely on these little internet celebrities, for all their information. That's why most people struggle and they don't really succeed, because they're getting bad information. They're getting bad processes, bad strategies, the whole 9 yards. So I provided tons of free quality content. Remember, give before you expect to receive. Give. I answer questions, right? Do all of these things, and then here's what happens. Okay, we have deal streams that come in. These are the 2 deal streams I told you: Facebook group and the podcast. All right, so sorry, all of a sudden the Facebook comments just started to come through for some reason. All right, so here's how it works. Very, very simple. People find my content. Before I even get involved in this, what you guys should be doing right now, if you haven't done this already, I'm going to explain to you what the big picture is here, so it'll all make sense. The big picture is you positioning yourself to monetize your expertise, okay? Monetize your expertise. And how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to lay out the whole platform here for you right now, okay? Because you're going to be getting a lot of experience, right? And so you need to create your own tribe. By tribe, I'm talking about you're going to create a Facebook group, okay? You're going to market yourself. And I say market, you're going to engage with quality content that's free, obviously, in your Facebook group. You're going to be the authority in your Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you're on, all the LinkedIn, all that stuff, okay? You're going to become the authority, right? You're going to start creating your tribe that resonates with who you are, what your brand is, what your specialty is, your level of experience, your expertise, the whole 9 yards, okay? And then you're going to create, if you're smart, a podcast. Now, in your Facebook group, you're going to do what I do. You're going to do what Gary Vaynerchuk does. You're going to do, it's like we're constantly in there, we're answering questions, right? All the time. Same thing on the podcast. We do it all the time, provide all kinds of free quality content. And so here's the flow. I don't think I've ever seen anybody else break this out so you can see exactly how things really work. So somehow people find the content, okay? Whether it's through referrals or what is that thing they call the Facebook recommendations, like recommended groups or whatever on Facebook, or they somehow find a podcast and then they start listening. They're like, okay, wow, this is totally different because I don't pull any punches. I tell people exactly how it is. There's no BS. It's not what they've heard before, right? And so they'll then join the Facebook group. Okay, they'll watch the content, they listen to the podcast, then they lurk. Got a lot of lurkers. You guys don't see everything that really goes on. You see some stuff, but most of what goes on is actually behind the scenes. Because what happens is they'll then reach out to me via Facebook Messenger. And I tell people this all the time. I hate Facebook Messenger with a purple passion, and I only use it for one purpose and one person only, and that's revenue generation. Okay? That's where they come out. They reach out to me once they finally consumed enough content and once they finally understood the message that I'm sending, which is total transparency, do things honestly, legally, ethically, etc., right? Here's the proper way to do it, not what you've been sold. And then they go and they sign up for the joint venture program. Okay. And that's how it works. I mean, there's a business in a box nutshell there for you right now. Guess what? The beauty of it was all free, 100% free. Cost me nothing. Facebook groups are free. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I lied. The podcast, I think is, I pay Libsyn $20 a month for the podcast. I think you can pay as little as $5 a month, depending on, how many episodes and what the storage is that you're using. I started off with a $5 a month plan. So that was the total cost of the podcast initially. Now, let me explain this to you so you understand. You're talking about creating, depending on your situation, a 6 to 7 figure platform for free. Okay. Where you have the ability to sell information. And I've been telling people this for years. It is infinitely easier. And I'm not telling you not to do things with integrity and credibility and all that stuff, but it's infinitely easier to sell people information that can help them than it is to close a real estate deal. I will be the very first one to tell you that. I've been saying that for easily 5-6 years since when I think I started the Facebook group in 2013. So I've been telling you, and the way the whole thing started with me is I was on somebody else's podcast and the thing went quasi-viral because nobody was doing virtual deals. And I'm just a guy doing real estate deals. I didn't have any Facebook groups, websites, none of that kind of stuff for coaching or courses or anything else. And people just started coming out of the woodworks asking me for a course. Let me show you how hard it is. Let me show you how hard this is. Okay. You guys are going to love this story, right? You'll absolutely love this story. This is my journey into like how I became the quote unquote, I hate this term, but for lack of a better term, the real estate guru. Okay. I don't know what you guys call coaches or whatever it is. But so I'm a guy in my lane doing deals. That's how I made my living. This is back to 2012, 2013. No courses, no website for courses, not any of this stuff, right? And so people started contacting me literally on a daily basis because they heard one podcast that was, 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I can't remember how long it was. And hey, man, do you have coaching? Do you have DVDs? Do you have any of this kind of stuff, right? They didn't know me. I had no social media presence. They couldn't find a website with anything on it. But they heard one podcast episode. That was it. Okay. Bam. Hey, we want to pay you money. Just like that. Now, I'm a little dense sometimes, so I'm going to advise you not to be stupid like I am and be aware of opportunity when it comes like kicking your door in. Because sometimes I don't recognize it. And so I got to the point where I was getting pissed. I'm like, look, I don't have courses or DVDs or whatever it is. Okay. Just, stop calling me. Right. Does that make sense? And I'm like, I do deals. That's what I do. I don't have courses. I don't have coaching. I don't have that kind of stuff. Well, after turning away about, the 20-something person, I finally had enough. Okay. This is over a very short time span. They're calling me, they're emailing me, they're messaging me. And, in hindsight on my part, it was really totally idiotic because it was really stupid. Because again, kicking the front door in with opportunity. And I'm just like, I'm not picking up on it because it's just not where my brain was at. I was in my lane. I'm trying to work on real estate deals. And these guys just keep heckling me. And so I finally put together what I called the FU go away email. Okay. Literally, it's not a joke. That's what I call it. It's called the FU go away email. And in the email, I put this whole thing together and I was like, look, I don't have courses. I don't have coaching. I don't have DVDs. I got none of this stuff. I do deals for a living. That's how I make my living. So I pay for all the stuff that whatever that you can see on Facebook or anything else. But if you're that interested in this thing, then we can build a business in a box around you. We're going to do it OJT style. For those of you who too young to know what OJT means, it means on the job training, which means that you're going to learn by doing as we work live deals together. And we're going to start as soon as you send me $5,000 to this PayPal account. Okay. And basically the way the whole thing wrapped up and ended up was, it was like, basically, look, pay or go away. That was my pitch. It wasn't even a pitch. It was honestly, it was just like, look, just leave me alone. Right. Well, I want you to think about something because I want to make this point because I want you guys to understand this. I mean, this is, again, my experience, my journey here into this whole thing. From hearing me on one podcast, not even my own podcast, 130 to 45 minute pause, I think maybe 45 minutes maybe, podcast, and possibly talking to me on the phone, Some of them didn't talk to me on the phone. Some of them just email, and me telling them basically to F off, pay or go away. No website they could pay on, no nothing, just a PayPal. Boom, here you go. $5,000, then we get to work. I made 25 grand in the first week. Okay? Telling people to go screw themselves. That's how hard it is to make money on the internet. Okay? The problem is you guys are not focusing a lot of your, attentions on the right thing. Well, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't expecting anybody to pay at all. If you want to know the truth. That began my foray into real estate coaching. And then all of a sudden the light bulb went off. I was like, oh, okay, now I see why these guys are doing this. Okay. There was no launch, didn't have a funnel, didn't have a website, didn't have a course, didn't have anything. It's me just telling people basically to piss off. Pros get paid to pay or go away. I don't care. Right. And it's 25 grand in the first week from 5 emails. All right. So understand that whatever these hiccups are, these holdbacks, these excuses that you have that you're letting hold you back in things, they're not real. Okay, they're only in your own head. And hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the path right here. Right now, here when we talk about the JVPs, here's what they do as it relates to deals that we're working on. Now I'm going to tell you what I provide for them, so it'll make sense. But I've got right now presently about, I think it's 100 and we may be at 152 properties under contract all over the United States. Okay. I have under contract, not them. I have under contract. Okay. So they have an ability as soon as they plug in to immediately begin marketing properties. Now, I want to explain this so this makes sense because if we go back to, because you guys are doing this stuff the wrong way. I already told you that. Doesn't mean you're not making money. It doesn't mean that whatever. I'm just telling you, it's the herd, right? This is the herd thing again. So we go back to this thing. Everybody's doing things the exact same way. And what you're taught is to go property first. That's wrong. Okay. It's wrong in every strategy. It's wrong on every level all the way around. Okay. If you're buying and selling, I'm talking about. If you're doing long-term holds for cash flow, obviously it's a different conversation. But they tell you to go property first. So you have to go out there and, you're marketing for properties. And I learned very quickly back in 2008, that is not the way to do it because here's why. I can contract on 10 houses and sell none of them and make no money. But if I go buyer first, okay, which you guys can do too, go buyer first, I can contract on 1 house and get paid. Which would you rather do? 10 houses and no money or go buyer first and 1 house and get paid? I like that one better. Okay. So that's what I do. I reverse the model. And you guys, you want to think about this stuff. Every time I look at what a market or an industry is doing, I always want to pull the model apart and reverse it entirely if I can. And if not, I want to take out the pieces that I don't want. All right. So when I created virtual real estate, what became virtual real estate investor before I knew it was ever going to be virtual real estate investor, what I did was I said, look, I don't want to go see houses. I don't want to go meet people. I don't want to do showings. I don't want to drive around. I don't want to go to closings. I don't want to clear titles. Right. All I'm going to do is talk on the phone, be on the internet, and make money with what I call keystrokes and sound waves. Okay. Keystrokes on my keyboard, and sound waves, my voice on the phone. That's it. And people told me I was absolutely nuts, because I was telling them, look, we're going to do this all over the United States, and people are going to, we're going to advertise on Craigslist, and they're going to do these deals. They're going to wire me money. Like, there's no way anybody on Craigslist is going to wire you money. See, you got to turn off that noise, right? Because of course they do. Okay, they did, and had no problem. Had people do crazy stuff like they've never met me, never seen me, just go deposit cash in my account to close a real estate transaction. Right? No joke. So turn off all the noise. But anyway, so that's how the whole thing kind of got going. And so now what happens is we've got we have 153, 152 changes daily depending on what's moving properties under contract. The JVPs get to market them immediately. Now, why do they do that? Well, because I have them working through a buyer first model because I don't want them going out there wasting a bunch of time trying to generate a bunch of standing inventory that all it's going to do is frustrate them when it doesn't sell. Okay. Has anybody ever had a deal that you didn't close, right? Where you contracted on something? It absolutely sucks. right? I mean, it's just frustrating as can be. I don't want them frustrated. I want them to make money as fast as humanly possible. So we go buyer first. So, and the way that we attract the buyers is they're marketing these properties out there. And guess what? Okay. I mean, literally, not figuratively. So if you take a look at, side-by-side comparison, we talk about like wholesaling versus this particular strategy of their owner finance sandwiches. Well, in wholesaling, if you guys go get started in wholesaling today, you're easily a week and a half, 2 weeks away from talking to your first seller. And the reason for that is because you're going to have to get bandit signs printed. You're going to have to get lists. You're going to have to get, your whatever type of mail marketing you're doing is going to have to go. It's then going to have to get taken to the post office, and it's going to finally have to end up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days later at the seller's house, right? So you're several weeks off of being able to do the thing that's going to make you money, which is be on the phone with a buyer or seller. In your case, a seller, because you guys are all going property first. Okay. In this arena, they're on the phone with buyers literally day one. Okay. Literally day one. I'll give you an example. A guy just signed up, and yesterday, no cost of marketing. It's just a simple Craigslist ad. We're on the phone with a guy with $50,000 in cash to put down. That's $50,000 that comes to us. That's our first payday, because we've got 4 different revenue streams on these transactions. Okay. Now, did I have to go see anybody? No. Did I have to meet anybody? No. Did I have to clear any titles? No. Did I have to go to a closing? No. Do I have to wait on anybody else? No. I don't have to do any of those things. Boom. On the phone, talking to the guy, wants what we got. Let's go. Okay. Just like that. So I want all those impedances out of the way, because for me to help you make more money the fastest way possible, I have to get you on the phone immediately with buyers out of the gate from day one. And that's the way this model is set up. No time wasted. We don't have to wait 2 weeks for bandit signs to show up or mailers to finally be printed and be shipped and be received and all that kind of stuff. It's day one. We're on the phone with people with cash, and it's all free. It's all done on Craigslist. Okay. So what they do then is I provide them, when you talk about why do they pay me so they can bring me deals? And these are joint venture deals, so we're going to be splitting 50% of whatever the proceeds are. And I'm okay with that, because guess what? There's plenty of them to go around, because doing it this way, I can scale. All right. And let me explain to you what I mean by that if you guys don't understand. If you guys are flying kids solo, doing your own little thing in your own little market, then you have no ability to scale, because there's only one of you. You only have so many hours in the day. There's only so many properties you can see, only so many people that you can talk to, the whole 9 yards. Well, in this situation, like I said, I set up the doctor's office. So we've got, a bunch of JVPs that are out there, and the pre-qualification, when they do that, the lead generation, like how long does it take to post a Craigslist ad? 30 seconds? 45 seconds? Okay. So that's, they spend less than 10 minutes marketing per day, max of 30 minutes if they're doing stuff on Facebook and everything else. But 10 to 30 minutes of lead generation. When the people call in, I don't let them waste time entertaining people on the phone. No, you're going to pre-qualify these people in the first 90 seconds based on these 9 questions that you're going to ask them. And if they check off all the boxes and it's payday, then you click a button in Podio that I've got set up, and you request a call with me, and I'll jump on the phone and I'll come in and drop the hammer. Okay, just like at the doctor's office. So when you go to the doctor's office, here's the example. You see the receptionist, right? Then you got to fill out all the damn forms and everything. And then some girl takes you back, and they do your blood pressure and your weight and height and ears and temperature and all that stuff, right? And then they take you back to the room, and then somebody else most of the time will come in, okay, what are you here for? What do you need? Blah, blah, blah. And she's filling out stuff. And then you sit there and wait and wait and wait. And then finally, here comes the doctor. He's already got all the information laid out in front of him. Bam. The highest paid guy there, the person that you came there to see, you finally see him, and he's in and out in 2 minutes, and he writes your prescription, right? Or gives you a referral to some other specialist or whatever. And that's it. And you just paid, $200, $500, whatever it is, for that guy there for 2 minutes of his time. And that's exactly the way you want to set your business up, so that you come in, you're the expert, you're the authority, all the other stuff is done for you, because the doctor's not out there doing intake forms, doing blood pressure, doing any of that kind of stuff, because it's below his pay grade. Okay? He doesn't need to be the one doing that. You guys don't need to be the ones doing all this other crazy stuff they got you doing either. You need to have things set up that way. So they come in, boom. I've streamlined the process for them. So it's as simple as posting a Craigslist ad. And then somebody inquires, okay, well, here's the 9 questions, up to 9 questions that you have to ask them. And that takes, and you have to do it in the first 90 seconds of the call, period, end of story, okay? Because I'm not going to get on and waste my time unless these questions are answered and I can see what they've told you, because I don't have time for it, right? You're going to do your part in your job, which is to pre-qualify people. It's not that hard, you know? I mean, we're asking 9 very simple questions, or up to 9 anyway, of stuff that we have to have. And when it's payday, bam, I'll jump on the phone and then I'll walk them through the process, because I'm not going to spend 45 minutes or an hour pitching somebody that hasn't been pre-qualified. I mean, it's just stupid. People do it, but I'm telling you not to. So once that happens, then I get to be the doctor, right? I jump on the call. I explain to them what their situation is, and I give them a prescription on how to fix it. Okay? And that's where the money comes from. And I'm okay with half, like I said, because I can scale, because it's not just me, because I'm not having to do all this other stuff. Okay? You're dealing with 10, 20, 30, 50, 80, 100 joint venture partners that are all actively out there working deals. And these are just the owner finance sandwiches. It doesn't include the multifamily and everything else that we're working on. Okay, so it's coming in. I get to basically sit back, and this is how you should set your stuff up too. And I mean, like, I'm in deal review daily. Okay, I'm in deal review, and if there's something, if there's low hanging fruit, then I get on the phone. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, hopefully this is helping you guys understand how you should be setting yourselves up. Now, in addition to all of those things, like I told you, then, pros get paid to play. Okay, so you guys need to understand that. So when I buy a home, right? Again, I do everything in reverse. Remember this. And what you're about to hear is totally crazy, but you go to the website and you can see it for yourself. Because I'll show you guys the checkout form. If I have to go buy somebody a property, and I talk about buy, the way that I'm buying the property is through a no money down owner finance deal, which means I don't have any cash out of pocket. I've never put money down on any deal in 30 years, nor would I. Okay, or if I do, well, I shouldn't say nor would I. I'll never say never. If I did, I would leverage other people's money. So it's not coming out of my pocket, if that makes any sense, because I want to stay liquid. I'm not a fan or believer in equity. Sometimes it's required if you're going to do a conventional deal like a multifamily where you're going through a bank or whatever it is. You can't get around it, but it's not going to be my cash. It's going to be private equity money or IRA money or whatever with a preferred rate of return. But I'm not going to be the one putting the cash out. I'm happy to pay the premium to not have to do that, so I can again scale. But when we do these residential deals, you need to understand this. Okay, when you talk about setting up your business model. And, it's basically my way or the highway. Before I pick up the phone to contact anybody about a property for somebody, I make them stroke out $2,500 up front. Okay. The way I work everything is I'm going to get paid in advance to do what I'm already going to do in some way, shape, or form. Now, $2,500 is not a fee. Okay. Here, I'll show you the page. It's not a fee. They get it credited to them when they close. When I say by close, basically what that means is they're sending me a wire. Okay, they're executing the contracts and sending me a wire. So here's this program here where we actually go out through the Home Finder program, all right? And bam, they're ready to go. And it takes them over here so they can pay the $2,500. Okay, now if you told that to anybody else, they can tell you that that's absolutely insane, right? Nobody's ever going to do that. Well, it's not true. It's just not true. All right, so again, you got to clear out the noise. Okay, if most of these people that are out there, they're telling you, they're selling through their own ideals, they're telling you stuff, and I'm just not going to do it because I've done that stuff before and wasted a bunch of time only to find out that somebody didn't have the cash or whatever it is, or they end up, flaking out or changing their mind. Meanwhile, they didn't mind wasting all your time. I don't have time for all that. Okay. You want to go deal with a bunch of amateurs, or you want somebody to drive you around and show you 100 houses, go get a buyer's agent for a realtor. They'll be happy to do that stuff for you, but I'm not going to do it. Okay? That's because I value my time. I know what the value of my time is worth. And you guys need to do the exact same thing, okay? I mean, you don't have to, but I would advise it. Does that make sense? So that's how it functions, and that's how I have things set up. So the takeaway, okay, for those of you that are on here, is that you really want to understand the big picture, okay? Because the big picture, if you're smart, is to replicate the success of others. Because the beauty of Facebook, Okay. The beauty of you is that you're unique. Each and every one of you, you're all unique. You have something different to offer. You have different experiences. You're going to attract and resonate with different people as you create and build your tribe, right? And if you become the authority and you do things the way that I just laid out for you, then guess what? Not only do you get to, get paid so people can bring you deals, pre-qualified to your metrics, you get paid for education, you get paid for your time, you get paid for coaching, you get paid for all of those things. And you have an ability to generate a ridiculous amount of money by selling information that comes from your experience in actually doing deals in real estate investing. Now, please listen to this. Do not do this. And I've seen this before, time and time and time again. It happens probably, I don't know, you see stuff every couple of weeks on Facebook. You need credibility, okay? You need integrity if you're going to be coaching somebody else. You need to make sure that you know what you're talking about, number one, which most of these clowns don't. And that's why there's some of these people get led astray with all these fraudulent contracts and everything. But you need your own credibility story. So I'll give you an example of what not to do. I had a guy come to me literally on food stamps, okay? And I'm not making fun of him because he was on food stamps, but literally on food stamps, had no money to pay, asked for free coaching, okay? And I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but I'm empathetic to. I lost everything in a $4.5 million bankruptcy in 2007. So I'm empathetic to people being down on their luck and try to help people if they'll help themselves. So work with the guy, get him, answer all his questions, get him information. He ends up closing on a deal that makes 19 grand. Okay. So now he thinks he's Mr. Real Estate Expert and doesn't understand pipeline management, doesn't understand anything else, but he made 19 grand on the deal. And of course he does what everybody else does. Okay. He goes out and spends the money, blows it. And 2 months later, he's running out of money. So you know what he does? You guys are going to love this part. He creates his own course. I kid you not. Okay. And when I talk about a credibility story, the whole rags to riches thing, is a legitimate credibility story, but it needs to be, okay, you're on food stamps, you made 19 grand on one deal, that's all you've ever done, and now you're an expert, you're going to do a course where people pay you. That's not the credibility story that I'm talking about. Okay, you need to have, you need to be the authority, you need to have the experience, you need to make sure your stuff is tight, and that people have an ability to actually benefit from it, and by benefit through, economically, financially, also saving time, because that's the only real purpose of a coach is they're there to help you save time, because you're going to pay either way. You're paying for a coach, right? Or you're going to pay in lost time and lost money from putting your hand on the stove too many times when you could have circumvented all that. But you guys need to understand the bigger picture here. And if you're thinking about, okay, I'm a real estate investor doing deals, that's wonderful. But there are greener pastures out there where you can set up, and you don't have to follow my model, create your own model, do something different if you want to. But you can set things up in such a way that you can have people bringing you deals as opposed to you having to go out there and find them. Okay, work at the reverse. Think through that process. How can I get people to bring me deals? Well, I showed you. You may be able to add some unique twists on that as well. And then you got to create it, which means that you got to stop posting your cat videos and what kind of dinner you had and all that. And you have to create your actual platform and monetize it. And then you can have deals brought to you daily if, that's the route that you're going to go into. The other thing, too, like I told you, is that they don't teach you guys the right way to do things, because you can all be in a position very quickly to have deals brought to you by informing people that, you're a buyer and this is what you're looking for. Okay. What your metrics are, exactly what you want. And if that doesn't hopefully that makes sense, because they don't ever tell you guys to do that kind of stuff. It's all, no, here's how to go find a deal. Well, instead of doing that, wouldn't you rather have an army out there bringing you deals? I mean, it'd be a lot better. And then eventually you can get to the point where they're paying you to bring you deals, right? Much better way to do it, okay? I'm just telling you, it's an infinitely better way to do it. So what happens with my JVPs is, they get the help and assistance they need. They don't have to go out and contract on 150 properties. They're instantly available for marketing. They get to instantly be on the phone with buyers with cash, okay? Where the buyer likes the property, how we can literally, we're not clearing titles and going through all that crap. I mean, if somebody calls me right now, say, hey, I like, property 123 on the website, fantastic. go take a look at it. If you like it, you can execute the contract, fire the wire, and you can be moving in tonight. That's how quickly we can get paid. Okay, same day. I've turned deals many times same day before. You can't do that in wholesaling, right? For all the layers of nonsense you have to go through, or rehabbing, or any of the other strategies that are out there. So you just need to understand, you got to be able to create and provide value for people. And so why do people pay me? So they can bring me deals where I get half. So I get paid up front, and I get paid monthly, and then I get paid half on a deal, because there's a value proposition that's there. I cut the curve. So number one, we cut the curve with instant properties they can market. We're not talking about these beater houses that they show you on the wholesale things. I'm talking about stuff $400,000 plus in normal markets like Atlanta, and $1 million plus in markets like Southern California and Seattle and places like that. Okay, we're not talking about junk. We're talking about move-in ready, turnkey, beautiful houses. Nothing wrong with them. No repairs. None of that stuff. These are six-figure income household transactions. Okay, so they have instant access to that. They can be on, literally market the property on Craigslist and get inquiries same day. What is the value of that? Is there value in that? You think there's value in that? Absolutely there is. Okay, because the faster that you can be on the phone with a buyer with cash, the faster you can get paid. So I want to cut out all of the nonsense in between them and them talking to a buyer. Okay, so that's what they do. So they have that instant access. Then, in addition to all the educational stuff that we've got in the backside, they have access to somebody with over 30 years experience. It's a professional sales closer. That's what I do. I close. So they've got somebody in their corner as they're cutting their teeth, learning the business, learning the ropes, the whole 9 yards. And they actually get assistance in taking it from A to Z so they can get a wire. Okay? So tremendous value proposition that others do not offer, because all they want to do is, most of the time, is sell you some BS course. Okay, take your money and run, and good luck, Skippy. Right? They throw you in the group when you're doing the old tired nonsense that everybody else is doing. That's how I have things set up. Now, the challenge for you is it's time for you to go set your own systems up. Understand what your big picture is, where you want to go, where you want to be able to replicate the exact same thing. Because guess what? If it's done correctly, and you have that value proposition, and you're doing something that's innovative, there's plenty of money out there for everybody. Okay, and you can be in the blue ocean and not have to fight in that red ocean. Okay, so there you go. Anybody have any questions? If not, here. Okay. Okay, so Isaiah says, okay, what if you don't find them a home that works for them? Well, this is a great question. I'm going to tell you why it's a great question. Let me go ahead and post this up here too, because I have the answer for you. And part of the problem here is that people don't extrapolate to think through the process. So he says, what if they pay me $2,500 and I don't find a home that works for them? Okay. And the answer to that is that's impossible. And let me explain to you why. It's a great question, really good question. Get asked that question all the time. But let me explain to you what the answer is and why. They're going to live somewhere, okay? They're going to live someplace, which means that if they can find someplace that they're happy living, that there's availability in the marketplace. Okay, I understand the concept of like, okay, well, what if you can't find something? Trust me, I totally get that. But at the same time, you're not thinking through the whole thing. They're going to find someplace to live. If I tell them I can't find them anything, they still have to live someplace. And once they find something acceptable, well, wouldn't that be the natural course to go down to contract on that house? Wouldn't that make the most sense? Of course it does. So you need to understand, and I trust me, I tell you, I get, especially when it says down here it's non-refundable, because I don't want tire kickers or time wasters or whatever, right? I understand that concern, right? But they're going to live someplace. And, even though it says non-refundable, would I refund somebody the $2,500 if we legitimately couldn't find somebody something? It's typically never a situation of not being able to find them something. Normally what ends up happening is you have one of two things. If something goes sideways, it's them circumventing, which, you got to understand, people do some really stupid things. through their circumvention, or they flake out, and that happens, which is bizarre when it happens, but it happens all the time. And I should be used to it by now, given the fact that I've had people on, for coaching and that kind of stuff, wire me 25 grand and then disappear like for no apparent reason. I should be used to that kind of craziness by now, but it's just, I don't know how to explain that. It's just bizarre. Some of the stuff. That's why it's funny to watch. It's funny to watch people on Facebook. All right, Guy Levy says, "Are these people with cash just bad credit?" Guy, the answer is every deal is different. So the common misconception with owner finance deals or rent to own or lease options or whatever you're doing is that people are doing those deals because they've got bad credit. Okay. And I will tell you that most of the people that we're doing deals with have perfect credit, and they got plenty of income, and they got cash, obviously, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing a deal with them. It's typically not credit. That's normally not what the issue is. Normally what the issue is there's some reason they don't qualify. In some cases, it's a W-2 employee that doesn't have 2 years on the job. We get a lot of self-employed people that come in and, based on their, if you guys, I don't know if any of you guys have ever underwritten self-employed tax returns. When I was in mortgage banking, obviously we had to learn that stuff backwards and forwards so we could make deals happen. What happens with the self-employed individual, and hopefully everybody here is self-employed or it will be self-employed here shortly, is that when you do your tax returns, you have a bunch of legitimate tax write-offs, okay? And so what happens is that washes against your actual gross income to wash down to a net income. So you want to minimize your tax liability. And in so doing, what happens with most self-employed people is they're making a ton of cash, but based on the tax return, it washes down and it shows a net that does not support the debt to income ratio that they need for conventional financing. And so they're forced to make a decision, and that decision is this, okay? And it's a really stupid one. And I've never had anybody actually make this decision to go the conventional route. Is basically what they have to do is they have to make the idiotic financial decision that they're going to pay taxes that they don't owe. Okay, well, let me repeat that. They're going to have to qualify, the average self-employed person is going to have to pay taxes they don't owe so they can, for lack of a better term, artificially inflate the net income on a 1040 so they can then qualify to go into debt with Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo or USAA or whoever, okay? And so, you'd have to you really got to think through that process. Like, why am I going to pay taxes I don't know? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I can go into debt and get a conventional loan, especially if I don't have to. And so this becomes a very effective route where they can become a homeowner today, okay? Because they actually, they get, depending on the deal type, they get legal title or equitable title or both. They get the mortgage interest and property tax deduction. They get a homestead exemption. They get homeowners insurance. They don't have a landlord. They can paint if they want to paint. They can get a dog if they want to get a dog. They don't have to ask anybody any questions. And as long as that payment comes in on time, they'll never hear from me or anybody else, just like they don't with a mortgage with Bank of America. The only time that you're going to hear from us is if the payment doesn't show up. Okay, then we have to reach out and touch someone. And so in that scenario, for most self-employed people, they it's a huge benefit because they don't have to deal with the banks. They can just cut through all the BS. They can get an actual home that they can live in and own, and on a fully amortized deal that they end up paying off, where they don't have to qualify and get refinanced at any point in time. That's a huge benefit for a self-employed person. Okay, huge benefit for a self-employed person because they're never going to qualify. It's never going to make financial sense for them to qualify for what they're going to live in. Okay, because typically what happens is people, the more your income goes up, the better house you want. As a general rule, people are not living below their means most of the time. And so as their income increases over time, they're not going to want, an equivalent or lesser grade house. It's always, the price is typically always going to go up, in conjunction with their income. So that is how that works. But those are both great questions. So, Guy, anyway, no, we have plenty of people to come in with perfect credit. Like we had people, coming in with 730 credit score, plenty of cash. This one lady, she had moved from city to city and didn't have 24 months in the new job. And so the lender, even with perfect credit and plenty of cash and, no gap in job history or anything else, they don't do what's called common sense underwriting. They wouldn't approve the loan for her. She was actually referred to us by a mortgage broker, wouldn't do the loan for her because she didn't have the 2 years in the new job, which is she was like 7 months short of that. But, W-2 employee, everything, perfect all the way around. She was lacking, what is that? 7 months, I think. Yeah, 7 months at the new job, which in my opinion was stupid because, do you have the money? Are you making money? We got a history of some kind. Are you making the money? Cool. I don't need 2 years. What do I need 2 years for? What's that going to do for me? I'm not getting paid any of that last 2 years payments, right? So that's another thing too. We do common sense underwriting. I don't care about past credit. It doesn't guarantee me a payment. Okay. I don't do idiotic background checks and all that kind of stuff because it doesn't guarantee me a payment. You understand? Here. This is a funny conversation. We can have this. We'll have this conversation real quick. I see people doing this kind of stupid stuff. The whole background check thing. Now, obviously, we're not looking for pedophiles or rapists or any that kind of stuff. But what I'm talking about from the standpoint of people want to pull a background check before they put somebody in a property. And I'll show you what a waste of time and money that is. I can go out there and I can buy millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of property and get conventional mortgages on it without a background check. And if the background check meant anything, I can assure you, if there was a greater default rate based on something in a background, like a criminal background check or whatever, I can assure you that lenders would require it. But they don't. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why we don't do it. All right. For those of you guys that are still on here, I hope this was beneficial for you. If it was, if you're on Facebook, do a comment, a like, a thumbs up, or whatever it is. For those of you who want to see more information about the platform and how the whole thing works, here's a website. I'm going to drop a link in GoToWebinar, and I will drop a link on Facebook as well. If you guys have any questions, just you can PM me. We can get on the phone, because this is a way for everybody that's on here, literally, to be able to start working deals. This afternoon. Okay, like literally this afternoon, and get on the phone with buyers and sellers. I'll show you how to do both. Although I highly advise against going the seller first route. And this type of a strategy, it doesn't make sense. Nobody ever understands it. It took me a long time to understand it also. And that was this, is that for those of you who don't know, back in 2008, I contracted on more than $40 million worth of property in less than 8 weeks with the strategy that I show you guys. And that sounds like a lot, and it was. And there was a lot of contracts. And I mean, we had entire new construction subdivisions under contract that we were selling on, variants of owner finance and rent to own and all that. We had the entire REO portfolio for Park Avenue Bank under contracts that we actually sold the new construction homes where they had foreclosed on the builders because the builders couldn't sell the homes. And obviously the bank, in their infinite wisdom, they thought they were going to be able to sell them, but they couldn't sell them either because they weren't going to lend. Nobody was lending at that point. And so we got the entire 60-something house REO portfolio they had. We were marketing all those new construction properties to people and getting, people that didn't qualify for a mortgage into a brand new house. It was, it was epic back then. The challenge that you run into when going inventory first on like an owner finance model, or any model, doesn't make a difference, but is that one, like I said before, you can contract on 10 houses, 20 houses, 100 houses and sell none of them. Okay, It's just unfortunately it's just the way it works, right? You don't control whether or not the properties sell. You can do all your best marketing efforts and all that, or if you go buyer first and you get the exact metrics that they're looking for, you can contract on one property and get paid. I like that one better. Okay, to me that's a much better way to go. And so that's the reason that in late 2008, early 2009, I stopped generating standing inventory personally. I don't do it, haven't done it. The only way that I do it right now is if somebody like, who knows me or whatever it is says, hey, I've got this, will you market it or whatever it is? And I say, yeah, fine, here's a contract, let's go, whatever it is. But I don't actively go out there and seek properties on the inventory first model. Now, the other thing too, which this is a thing that I never really could figure out for a while. It was really bizarre, is that people will call in, like when we market some of these properties on Craigslist, you have people call in and they don't want the house they're calling on, right? It's like, you're like scratching your head like, okay, well, you call me on this house, but you don't want the house. Well, what happens is they're triggering off the ad, they're triggering off of no credit qualifying, or they're triggering off of the owner finance, the no banks needed owner finance aspect. And so what they're trying to find out is, do you have any other homes that work? And if not, can you get them one? That's how we created the Home Finder program, because I got tired years ago of watching, 25, 50, 80, 100 grand go down the street simply because I didn't have a property for them that worked at that moment in time. Okay, so that's where we get into this thing now where they pay $2,500 up front, and then I'll go get them a house. Okay. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, that's just the way that I do it because I don't want to waste time. That's one thing too. I'll tell you this: you got to have. A lot of people don't have this. They don't value their own time. They don't have the intestinal fortitude to tell people, how it's going to be. And something I learned from a mentor about 20 years ago is that there's enough people that will do business my way that I don't have to worry about those who won't. Okay, and that's the model that I live by. I don't look to conform my model to anything else. Okay, and you shouldn't either. In other words, I don't bend over backwards for stuff. This is the way we do it. It's a good fit and it resonates, fantastic. If not, bye. Next. That's the way that it works. Okay, so all right. Anybody have any other questions? No. Okay, so Tammy says, I'm currently in the process of creating the structure for a few partners I work with to help grow their business, which I get a piece of. Very smart. I'm now seriously considering doing this for myself after listening to you. Thank you for the motivation and providing me with the validation I needed. My biggest obstacle is gaining more knowledge in my area of expertise and having the confidence to put myself out there. That's understandable. A lot of people suffer with that. I've always been the person in the background running things and making someone look good and not the front man. That is going to change. Thank you. Well, my pleasure. Tammy, the only thing I can tell you is, you know what? Do it right now. Look, let me show you how hard this is. If you're on Facebook, go right here. Let me just clear out to the main screen. And over here on the left-hand side, where is it? Did they move it again? Where did it go? Groups, there we go. You click groups on the left-hand side, and then this blue button right here, create a group. You do that like right now. Literally like right now. Okay. And everything doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to, you can change the name at any point in time. There's a thing they have. Once you have, I forget how many members it is, they won't let you change it anymore. No, it's not that. They won't let you change the privacy settings once you hit a certain number. So what you want is a closed group. You don't want public and you don't want secret. If it's secret, nobody can see it. If it's closed, people can see it and it'll show up in search and everything else. If it's public, anybody can join it and see all the members of the group. You just want a closed group, okay? You want to set your questions up so they have to ask questions before they go in there. But do this right now, okay? Literally take a couple minutes and then you can, get your header up and all that kind of stuff. And then that, I'm just telling you, I want you to think about this for a second, all right? Think about this for a second. This thing right here, okay? Do you have any idea how much money I've made off of this free Facebook group? You'd have a heart attack if you knew, okay? How many deals are brought to me because of this free Facebook group and this podcast that's also free. Okay, there you go. Free. Free, free, free. These are feeders, okay? This feeds the Facebook group. When they come through the Facebook group, and they'll comment. Sometimes they won't. I have people pay me money. I have no idea who they are. Okay, they've been around. They've been watching. They've been lurking. They've been doing their due diligence, and then they sign up and they pay, and then we get going and we're working deals together. Okay, it's beautiful. It doesn't cost anything, right? So same thing with all of our marketing and advertising that we do. It's all done on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is. There's just, you don't have to be out there wasting time and money, because you guys can all be on the phone with somebody today. I don't care that it's 2:30. You can have it add up in the next 5 minutes and be on the phone with someone, a live buyer with cash this afternoon. Okay. Okay, guy says, how do you find the houses that fit your model? Very simple. Here, I'll give you guys some little free educational course. Well, so somebody signs up for the Home Finder program. The way that's set, it's absolutely beautiful, because, and I would love to tell you that this was all by design, but it's something I kind of learned through the process of doing, is I set up a Basecamp project for them. And if you don't know what Basecamp is, go to basecamp.com, and I'm actually using the deprecated version of Basecamp 2, not Basecamp 3. And I have a Basecamp project that's set up. That's where we aggregated all the information. Okay. And so, let me get out of that. In the process of doing that, I created a tutorial that shows them how to post a property. Okay. What I ask for, the way I do it is this: show them how to do it in Basecamp, which is really, they just click a button. And then the other thing is, we ask them to provide us an example of a property that matches what they're looking for, so we know what we're looking for. Okay. Now, what happens, and this is the beauty of the way the system is set up, is that once they have been empowered to put that first listing up, 99.999% of the time they don't stop. And so theoretically, in their minds, okay, they stroked out $2,500 so that we would find them a house, but they've then been empowered to do it on their own. And so all they do is just keep putting up listing after listing after listing after listing after listing after listing, and we don't have to do it. They actually find the houses for us. So then all I have to do, once again, come in, be the doctor. I'll pull up, I'll take a look at the ad. I'll see what I can decipher from the ad, because there's if you guys play poker, there's tells in a lot of these ads, and if you understand how to read them correctly, you can get an idea of actually what's really going on. And then I'll just pick up the phone. Okay. And like I said, 99% of the time they find the properties, I don't. If I have to find a property, the very first place I'm going to go to here is Craigslist. I'm going to go right here to apartment housing for rent. This is for the owner finance sandwich deals. Okay. And we'll go over here and we'll put our criteria in, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, whatever. Or what did I just do? Florida, and do 3-bath houses, and then housing type. It's going to be single family. What do they call it? House. There it is. House. And if I can put the price in here, I'll put a price in. So let's just say $3,000. Okay. And then what's going to pull up this is apartment housing for rent. So why am I looking at apartment housing for rent if they want to buy, right? They're actually wanting to buy. Well, because here's what I know. Here's these properties right here, assuming this was our search criteria. So this happens to be in Orlando, where this market is, right? So we got a house here. By the way, if you ever buy a house or build a house in Florida, do yourself a favor. Don't ever build it or buy it without a pool. Okay. I mean, massive mistake. Same thing in Arizona. Don't do it there, or Nevada. Don't do it there either. Okay. Always have a pool. It's worth the money. It's worth it for the resale value. See these all the time, man. It's just I don't understand people what they're doing. Anyway, so why am I doing this on Craigslist for apartment housing for rent? This is our number one source of locating properties. Well, because very simple. One, I know that this landlord / seller will take a payment on the property. Okay. So I've got one of the boxes checked off. They will take a monthly payment. I need that on an owner finance deal, okay? Number two, I know, unless it says otherwise in here, that the property is immediately available for occupancy. So I've got box number two checked off, okay? They'll take a payment, and it's available right now for immediate occupancy. Those are two things I'm looking for. And then number three, all I have to do is contact them and say, hey, Mr. Landlord, Mr. Owner, I've called about your property on Craigslist. That's for rent. Got a quick question for you. Is it also available for an eventual sale? And then I shut up. Okay, it's called the silent close. I just ask them, hey, is it also available for an eventual sale? And they'll either say yes or no. Okay, I'm not going in for a close. I'm just asking them a simple question. Is it also available for an eventual sale? And if the answer is yes, well, fantastic. And then I'll roll into the pitch and explain to them what we're trying to do. I'm an investor, blah, 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 blah. This matches our criteria we're looking at for our portfolio, yada, yada, yada. And I'd like to send you a contract over right now, like while we're on the phone, okay? And by the way, just so you guys understand, if you're not doing it that way, so I have everything built out into Podio. So I can be on the phone talking to a seller, and I can literally, I'll show you guys this. If you guys don't have this stuff set up, you got to really rethink what you're doing, because time kills the deal, okay? And if I got somebody that's hot to trot, the quote-unquote motivated seller, don't ever use that term because I'll smack you because it's stupid, because all sellers are motivated. You just got to solve their problem. So if I go into here, okay, the way I've got Podio all built out, okay, it goes through all the contact information. Is property in an LLC? If so, what is this, blah, blah, blah. Here's where the JVPs request a call with me, whether it's accepted or it has to be rescheduled. We go down here, payments, parcel ID, purchase price, balloon or fully amortizing, contract term in years, balloon in term in months, if any. If we have to add any kick-out clauses, you guys know what a kick-out clause is? Maybe you don't, I don't know. If there's any additional clause, like, okay, whatever, the seller's taking the refrigerator, whatever, I don't know. If there's any additional clause in here, it has to go in there. And then all we have to do is click a button that says generate the contract in the seller's name or in seller's LLC's name. It will then instantly, generate that contract in Podio. It'll attach it at the bottom. I can review it real quick, and then all I do is push one button right here, and it will send it to them automatically via right signature, okay? Speed, okay? Because time kills the deal. Because if I got somebody on the phone and the guy says, yeah, I'm open to that, okay, we agree to the terms, because I don't make offers, okay? And you guys need to understand that. If you're making offers, that's a bad model. I don't make offers. I do deals, okay? So I want to get to the terms right now while we're on the phone. And let me qualify that, okay? If we're dealing on multifamily and you got a friggin' broker in the way and all that kind of stuff, that's a different scenario than what we're talking about right here. I'm talking about I am having a direct conversation with the decision maker. Okay, I'm not going to make him an offer. We're going to work out what the terms are right now, and if it's viable, then while I've got the guy on the phone, I'm going to go move right in for the contract. And why am I doing that? Because I'm going to send it to him right then. Well, I've got him. He's on the phone. I would like to go ahead and get him the contract out. So number one, he knows I'm serious. And number two, I can review it with him right now, okay? Because he's on the phone. I'm ready to get this property under contract. Let me send it to you. Bam, in front of your computer. Fantastic. Now we can review it together, and I can answer any questions that you have so that we can get this thing executed, okay? And that's the way that I handled that personally, because I don't waste time. Time kills the deal in any form of sales, but especially in real estate sales. So I want to lock that property up as soon as I get the what's the next step, or yes, I'm open to that, let's go, and we get the terms and everything situated, okay? So that's how that whole thing is functioned. Now the other thing too with Craigslist, like I said, we already know all of these properties here. We'll take a payment. They're available unless it says otherwise, and not available till March 3rd or something. Unless it says otherwise, it's available for immediate occupancy. Okay. There's a nice house in Windermere on the lake. So anyway, that's how that works. Okay. And just, if you guys are out there doing like 10-minute task or whatever, if you decide that's something, a route that you want to go, this is where we always start. Okay. And then if that isn't yielding what I'm looking for, then I'll go to next up. If I can get back to it. Go back over here and I'll go to real estate. They used to have a different one. It was real estate for sale by owner. And then they used to have it broken out. One was by owner, one was by realtor. So go to real estate for sale. Okay. And then put your criteria in, and then it's, pick up the phone and call. But like I said, literally 99.9% of the time, I don't have to do any kind of hunting on my own. Okay. It's all done by the buyer themselves, because we're going to empower them with that ability to do that in Basecamp. And typically, this isn't meant to be, whatever, offensive or whatever it is, but normally women are the buyers, and women love to look at houses. Okay. So typically,